Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining a VoIP Supply webinar, part of our webinar series with co-hosts SYSTM and Sangoma. Myself, I am Brian Hyrick. I'm here with co-host Michael Donnell of SYSTM and Todd Milbrand of Sangoma. Today, we're going to go through and have a conversation about how to launch Sangoma PBXact within SYSTM and show you really how easy it is and why you want to do that as well. During this webinar, you're able to interact with us and ask questions. We want to make sure they're all addressed. So please use the question bubble in the lower right-hand corner. And we're absolutely going to address all of those questions at the end of the webinar. For those of you who are new or are not familiar with VoIP Supply, since 2002, we've been helping resellers with our partner program. We have a rental program for device as a service that you can apply for. We are partnered with over 60 manufacturers, offering over 16,000 products in our ever-growing catalog to help you and your customers really meet a variety of needs. CloudSpan Marketplace, offering cloud services such as SIP trunks or VoIP hosting such as SYSTM. We do have the ability to sign you up and get you commissions at an industry high rate as well. As far as your hardware needs go, we do have provisioning and fulfillment. For a low rate, you can have all of your phones provisioned and shipped, so you can launch completely virtually for a customer. You can have all of your phones shipped to location, pre-provisioned, set up on your PBXact, cloud hosted through SYSTM. So definitely contact me at the end about that. I can show you all of the ins and outs and really how seamless and touch-free everything can be. If you're ever in a situation where you do go on site and there's older VoIP equipment, maybe some dusty Cisco's or Polycom gear, VoIP Supply can offer you either cash or credit towards hardware on there. On the flip of that, we do recondition via our own 10-step process hardware that we offer at industry low rates. We do put a full year warranty on all refreshed equipment. That is also very rare in this industry. And with that, I would like to introduce one of our speakers, Todd Milbrand of Sangoma. Todd, do you want to take it away and give everyone a glance at Sangoma?
Absolutely. Thanks, Brian. So I'm assuming most of you are familiar with Sangoma, but I don't like to make assumptions and not give some background just in case you aren't familiar with us. We have been in business now since 1984. We are a publicly traded company doing about $150 million per year. You can look us up. You can see we've been profitable. You can look at all of our financials. We are an extremely profitable company that is also growing. You know, like most of the market, we have taken a hit on our stock price recently, but the bigger concern is that you can see that we are profitable and growing. Started off just making cards that would go into servers and allow folks to connect various different networks, specifically the PSTN with servers. And over the last 35 years, we've added to our portfolio. We have our own phone system, our own phones, session border controllers. We have cloud services. We still have that network connectivity piece as we still make cards that will go into our servers and others, as well as gateways and other items. Today, we're going to be focusing on the phone system piece. Specifically, I'm going to show you installing free PBX on the SYSTM platform and then converting it to PBXact. We'll do a quick run through on as we're going through things where I'll talk about some of the differences between the two, as well as going through a very basic setup of a PBXact system once we get into it. And And we'll start with showing where you go on the VoIP Supply website to order your license. Probably the easiest place to do it is to email Brian Hyrick or give him a call. Once you have that PBXact license, you're then able to go to the system website and begin to configure everything, which we're going to do right now. So Brian, you want to give me the ability to share my screen? So I'm going to start here on the VoIP Supply website. And bring up PBXact by going to Sangoma. Sorry, a lot of manufacturers on there, like Brian had mentioned. And I can go through here. I can search for things. I'm looking specifically for PBXact, which, oh, there we go. Too bad everything's shut down. I can't get my eyes checked because that was so obviously right there, right? And specifically what I'm looking for is PBXact software and licensing. And whether I'm going with a full-on purchase, we also have a SaaS program that you need to be in our partner program to get access to. Where instead of doing a capital expenditure on the 50 user license right up front, you can actually make it OpEx and then charge your customers for. But I can come here, add it to cart. I can add my support to it. And I can go through the process and check out. So not going to bore you with seeing that. We're going to move on to me actually getting going with system. You're going to go to get started. You're going to go through all that. I've already logged in. Or I'm not logged in, but I already have an account that I'm going to log into here in a moment. But you go to get started. If you're new to system, you're able to go through everything. I'm going to choose Free PBX. So Free PBX and PBXact have the exact same code base. The Free PBX is the open source, and PBXact is the commercial version. So the very root of everything, they share the same code base. But as you're going to see as when we go through all of this is I am not going to use the latest Free PBX distro. I'm going to use 1904-2. So that is the latest that we have for Free PBX 14. Free PBX has been on version 15 now for about 4 months. So between Free PBX and PBXact, we keep about a 6-month lag time, right? So Free PBX will go through a very extensive QA process, both internally and then through the typical channels you would imagine, such as an alpha and a beta, and then it gets released into the wild. And this is like the 3rd time I've done this, where I have not put in the host name. So I still have my discount code there, and I'm going to go on. And this is if you were a new client where you would fill everything in. I'm going to switch it over to already registered. I'm going to log in. And I'm going to check out. So while that is building everything out for me, it actually goes through extremely quickly. Probably the easiest way to deploy Free PBX or PBXact is to buy it on an appliance. Doing it like this is a very close second. I personally, if I weren't getting an appliance, cannot imagine myself ever again taking a USB stick or some sort of other media and doing it myself. I'm going to go into manage here. You can see everything is pending. It should load up fairly quickly. And while it is doing that, I just want to show you guys the system dashboard. So I only became familiar with this dashboard less than a week ago. Actually, if we go back here to the instances, you can see my first one here. Next due date on payment is the 12th. And I just saw a question come in. So I did this about a week ago, and I am so impressed with not only the responsiveness and the modern interface here, but just how quickly everything goes. So it looks like somebody asked, how many phones can I put on this particular instance? So it depends on what you configure it for, right? If I were to go back to ordering, you know, I would say just a base configuration with a gig of RAM, 1 CPU core, and 20 gigs of hard drive space. You can probably get 40 to 50 on that. The CPU cores will scale up to 8, which would get you more than enough as far as horsepower. And you can scale the RAM up, it looks like, to just under 8 gigs as well. And you can get the disk size up to 500. RAM, as you can see, it's fairly inexpensive on here, like everything else. You know, I always recommend you go with at least 2 gigs. If you're going to be using ExactView or iSymphony instead of Zulu, since that's Java-based, that UC client, I would recommend going up to 4 gigs. Otherwise, you might see some slowdowns and some various different items affecting your performance. But the other thing I was impressed with this interface was how quickly I could go to one of my other systems. So let's go to this PBXact I've already created. I can quickly get to root and go into the console, but I can also come in and I can get snapshots, I can schedule it, I can get logs, I can see usage without having to go into the interface itself. And I can always go into the add-on piece. Here, there we go. How long is the license good for? All right, so that PBXact license I just purchased, that license is good for 25 years. You need to purchase a peace of mind package as well if you want to get updates. If we go back to the VoIP supply website here, or to add it to cart, the peace of mind package gets you one of 2 things. It gets you updates and upgrades. So PBXact is currently in a version 14. When we go to 15, circa sometime around June of this year, you would go with us. And then it also gets you service level agreements when you engage with our support teams. And as you can see, for 50 users for a year and a little bit of support credit, it's not that much. So I'm going to go platinum. That would give me the ability to contact someone in a system down emergency after midnight or overnight, as well as 60 credits I can put towards support. And then the upgrade button, and Mike, I don't know if you're on, but
yep, I'm here.
How quickly, if I were to upgrade or downgrade this system, would this go into effect?
It's pretty instantaneous. So if you had a need to upgrade the RAM, the CPU, or the disk space, you would go into the upgrade button of the instance you want to upgrade. you would choose the slider to choose what you wanted to do, and the resources would be allocated immediately. Now, with PBXact, you would have to go through a reboot session. So what we normally tell people is if they're going to do this, do it around a maintenance window, because you will pinch any concurrent calls going on because you have to go through a restart for the system to redimension. But the resources are available the moment you add them.
Awesome. Thanks for the info on that. I'm going to go back to my dashboard. Take a look at my systems. And there we go. I've got that free PBX3 that I just created. And I'm going to go to that IP address. And we're going to take this one just through setting up a root password. So I clicked on console, and I get the install screen that I would normally expect. I'm going to choose free PBX 14. If you are going just with free PBX and you're going to add on modules, you can go straight to 15. And one of the big differences that people don't realize between free PBX and PBXact, besides PBXact being commercially hardened, by having that 6-month lag time between releases. And just to be clear, if it's a major thing that needs to be done, for example, a security hole, something like that, we'll patch those immediately. But new releases, new features, things of that nature, that is where you're going to see that 6-month lag time, and sometimes it's less. So besides that product being commercially hardened, we also quote unquote sell it differently, right? So free PBX out of the box includes practically everything you need for a phone system to begin making and receiving phone calls, including a 21-day free trial of our SIP trunking product. And the way we monetize the project, right? We've got, whole teams of developers, not only working on the open source, quote unquote, you don't have to buy a thing from us. We have to pay those guys, right? So the way we go about making sure we can pay them is we go and we sell you either additional functionality that can be added into free PBX by what we refer to as modules. So for example, if you download free PBX, you don't add anything to it, you can do paging. But, and I forget what the dollar amount is, I think it's like maybe 99 or 75. If you need the ability to do advanced paging and an advanced intercom, that is going to require you to go ahead and purchase the Paging Pro module. And the Paging Pro module would give you additional functionality. For example, a lot of education clients of ours, they will get the Paging Pro module and use that to actually talking about all this stuff and getting a system set up, you can lose your train of thought there for a second. So I'm going to stop here, but I'm going to keep talking, and then we'll go into that other system I have set up. Our education customers, a bell schedule, right? Those bell systems are thousands upon thousands of dollars. If you're trying to IP enable it, do other things, it becomes a hassle. They'll use Paging Pro to do scheduled pages, which can be bell tones for change of class, other items. If you need valet style paging, like you would get in an airport, so you always see the gate agent talking for 30, 40 seconds, they hang up, then it pages. That's how we monetize it. 98% of people don't buy anything from us when they download free PBX. because they don't need that additional functionality. But the way we're able to pay for it, keep the project going, is selling these modules. And I'm going to close out of here, and I'm going to go into a free PBX I've already set up. And those modules, like I said, can add additional functionality, but they can also make setup and management of the system a lot easier. And what we will do is we will, with PBXact, instead of selling everything modularly, so not only do you get the commercial product, but you get about $2,000 to $3,000 worth of those modules included with PBXact, right? So right now we're focused on doing this as a software-only installation in system, and MSRP on that is $800. But you're getting $2,000 to $3,000 worth of advanced modules on top of the fact that this is commercially hardened. So what I'm going to do here with this system I'd already set up is I'm just going to get in here, register it real quick. So if this is your first time doing a system, which I believe 90% of you, I've recognized your names from working here over the years. If it's your first time, you will put in your email address and it will create a portal account for you. I'm going to log into an existing account. Don't have an existing account. This is where you would create one. I'm going to continue. I'm going to give it a name so that way with all my other activations, I know what I'm doing. And you can see I get a deployment ID. And that deployment ID is what we use to tie everything to you. So when you purchase one of those modules, that's how we know that your server gets that module. So I went and got this registered, and I am now going to close out of there. And I'm going to show you how quickly I can take that system and update it to a PBXact. So that was this particular system, PBX. And I'm going to jump into a console. And I already logged in as root. As you saw when we were doing the install on that first system, I sent my root username and password. And I am now going to put in FW console, SAU, and the deployment ID that I got from VoIP supply for PBXact. And it is now done. It's not fully done. If I were to go ahead and bring up this IP address, which I will do now, it has gone from being a free PBX system. Actually, I do need to reboot it. My apologies. Within minutes, it's going to go from showing free PBX and having all the free PBX logos to it's going to change the GUI and start to bring down all of the different modules within PBXact that you are now going to have access to. And because we want to keep this going, we don't want you guys having to sit through lag times, other things. I'm just going to go straight into a PBXact system. The total time for that conversion, even though you get the immediate GUI access where everything has changed, it's going to take about 45 minutes total. And what I'm going to do is come in and take this system I created a week ago. All right, and I know what that is. Give me one moment. So Brian, while I'm finishing this up, have any questions come in that I haven't answered?
I do not see anything that you have other than there has been one for how many phones can you point to a cloud hosted free PBX as far as limitation. I don't know if you
So
would like to speak to that.
the highest I would go, it depends on call volume. It depends on bandwidth that you have at your location. But free PBX itself, since it's based on Asterisk, I wouldn't go over 2,000. There's some things with the Asterisk kernel that have been a little problematic for us recently, and I would not go above 2,000. Mike, do you have any suggestions there with system? Would you guys have any sort of limitations that would prevent someone from going up to 2,000?
No, no limitations. I think you're right, though, Todd. I think it just comes down to the particular client use case. How many phones is certainly one, but then concurrent calls. Are they a call center? Are they recording? So there's some things to take into account. From a system perspective, if you can think back to the sliders that Todd was demonstrating, they're kind of preset to go up to a certain amount. But we do have customers that go larger than that. You just open a ticket with us and we'll expand it on a per instance basis. Well, we have quite a few that go over, 1 terabyte of storage and whatnot. So there are some instances. Just let us know. But I think it just comes down to just looking at your metrics, quantity of extensions, concurrent call paths. Are they doing recording? And if you need help, please reach out to VoIP Supply or Sangoma or System, and we'll help walk you through that if you need it.
Perfect. And we also have another question regarding white labeling, as far as white labeling PBXact and system in general, if you gentlemen would like to speak to that.
PBXact can be white labeled. We can talk offline about what the pricing looks like on that. There's an upfront price as part of being in our partner program, and then there's the yearly cost as well after that, which is probably about half of what the upfront cost is. And then Mike, I don't know, can system be white labeled?
Well, white labeled in the sense that we do have quite a few partners that use System as their own private data center. So if you think about how System plays a role in how you support your customers, what the customers are going to see is really either the PBXact, they're going to see you, or they're going to see some white labeled version of PBXact, as Todd just mentioned. In the back end is System. And so customers really never see System because when they're accessing the resources, they're going either via host name or IP address into the tools that you're providing them. So a lot of resellers and partners leverage System on the back end as their data center as a cost of goods to them, and then they take that and bundle the hosting as part of their cloud PBX service to their customers. So, oftentimes there's really no need to really private label it because it's really a behind-the-scenes resource that partners use.
Perfect. That's what I thought. So going back to this PBXact activation, what I'm going to have to do here is called a Zend reset. This is something you can do in your own Sangoma portal, so portal.sangoma.com. You know, we had planned on doing this well before everything with the world around us changed. You may find yourself, or you already have an existing PBXact, or maybe even a free PBX with modules on it that you want to move to system, considering everything that's going on as part of a DR plan. When you register a deployment with us, we take information from the hardware on that box, so whether it's our appliance, something you rolled it on yourself, or even another hosting company. We tie that deployment ID to that hardware to prevent people from buying something and, you know, for $100 and then using it on 100 systems, right? But if you're in a situation where you need to move this stuff, you can log into the portal, go to My Products, you can find your PBXs. This is my corporate account, so, you know, it came up with the, you know, several million systems that we have in here. But that's where naming things, giving it a location name becomes helpful. So you can know, like, oh, this is the one I have on system, this is the one I have here. But if you ever do need to reset that licensing, you can go into the deployment, you can edit it, go to this licenses tab, and you can reset the hardware lock. And you can do that up to 2 times on your own. Anytime after that, you're going to be looking at engaging with us in order to do that. So I don't know why I'm having issues with this. So I'm just going to abort that. Skip through all of this. And once you have converted your free PBX to PBXact, you can see it's a very, very different look and feel to what you would typically experience with a free PBX system. And what it'll do is the look you will actually get when you go into it for the first time is you're going to get a setup wizard, which I'm going to go through myself really quick. And we always like to say that if you have 10 users, you can get them set up in less than 10 minutes going through this. And I'm going to be putting a lot of garbage in here because I don't want to waste people's time. But I'll just put John, Mary, Peter, Paul, and Brian. None of them have any direct dial info. Would love to see where, because these email addresses don't exist on the Sangoma.com domain. I'm wondering if they will actually get delivered somewhere and confuse somebody. All right. I'm now done, and it's going to take me to what we refer to as basic mode. And you can, of course, there's probably guys on here that were screaming, apply your config. Don't forget to do that. It's going to bring me back to that basic mode, right, where it gives me the 10 things most likely that I'm going to need to change after an install, whether it's music on hold, you know, my inbound routes, outbound routes, things of that nature, my users. And what you will actually see when I go into those modules is, and we'll switch back between advanced mode and basic mode when we're in those modules, but it used to be that you would have to scroll through pages and, you know, scroll all the way through all the different granular settings you can get with free PBX. 99% of people don't touch that granularity. The nature of open source is we make it available to people because we get those requests and there are people that need it. But for example, if we go into the IVR module, those of you familiar with free PBX are going to see something completely different than what you're used to seeing. If you prefer what you get with free PBX, we're going to switch it over to advanced mode. And this is where you can start getting yourself carpal tunnel from all the scrolling you have to do within all of the granularity there. Now, now that I'm out of basic mode, if I were to go to the dashboard, that's where you're going to get the more familiar look and feel that you have from free PBX if PBXact is new to you. And since this is on a hosted system, I would strongly recommend, if your firewall is not configured, you go into responsive firewall. And you begin to set that up. So at this point, this is where I wanted to take it to before I open it up to anything specific around free PBX, PBXact. Obviously, you guys are going to have questions on system. You know, so we have Mike and Brian here; they can answer those. So inundate us with questions, please. And while we wait for you to do that, I'm gonna. This is the free PBX I had stood up earlier. I'll pop back into the system dashboard. Mike, do you want to talk about the Sentry security appliance while we wait and see what questions come through?
Yeah, sure thing. So
you can say no.
Sentry,
I mean, that would have been funny if you had said no, right?
Well, security is important, and you know, Todd alluding at the very end there, you know, just make sure, obviously, you know, you're setting up your firewall policies. There actually is capability. We do have an IP tables and firewall capability within the system. So you could do it at the system level, but you can also do it within the PBX itself. And I look at security as it can never hurt to have too much security. There is a layer 2 filtering capability in front of all these PBXs. So that's really meant to hopefully eliminate a lot of the IP scanners that are trying to hit away at these boxes. So that is part of every instance. And then, of course, you know, follow best practices for setting up your firewall security within either system or the PBX. Sentry is taking all of that and putting it into a small little appliance that sits in front of an on-premise machine. The good news about Sangoma is, you know, if you do acquire an appliance, you know, I would just recommend you get the SBC in addition to the appliance to put in front of it. And then Sentry is really meant to be a layer 2 filter for IP scanners and so forth to kind of help to make the whole operation invisible or as much as we can. Our theory with security is if you can't be found, that's a good thing. So we try everything we can to help put you in that position. Security is not perfect. It's a constant evolving thing, but it definitely is something that we can assist you with. And I encourage you, if you have questions, you know, reach out to VoIP Supply and we can get involved and kind of walk you through some options.
Awesome. I did see a question come through, so let's take a look at that. Do we need
Todd,
a license to?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we need a license to connect another brand of phone like Polycom, Grandstream to PBXact? Yes, you need what is known as the third-party license. In the free PBX world, it's known as Endpoint Manager. If you use a Sangoma or Digium phone, it comes for free. And this allows you to set up your phone, set your templates, and get everything going for everyone, and managing it going forward, obviously, as well. Do note that the D80 is not a part of Endpoint Manager. Reason for that being that it requires something called DPMA. We are working on that, but that's the, for lack of a better word, the big, sexy touchscreen phone that's within our DigiMD series line. But yes, you would need Endpoint Manager. So you do get $2,000 plus worth of modules. I actually have a presentation I can bring up, and I can get this over to Mary so that we can make sure that you guys have access to it. Kind of illustrate some of what comes with PBXact as far as modules, but there are two things you can add on to it. The first one being you can add on the third-party endpoint manager, and you can also, didn't go far back enough. You can also add in the call sensor module as well. And that will include a whole bunch of various different items. But this is what I wanted to bring up for you guys. Everything in white here just comes with free PBX. Everything in yellow is a module. And base free PBX has enough to run a call center, right? It has call queuing, call recording, but when you want to do more than that, say you want to be able to report on those queues, you would need to add the queue reports module. If you wanted to get stats on your queues, the same thing, or the wall board. And then Virtual Queue Pro, or VQ Plus, if you want within a call center. It doesn't need to be a call center. We see it used by just all sorts of different organizations. But VQ Plus allows you to do queue callbacks. And I've actually seen colleges, they'll implement this in the registrar and bursar's office for the first few weeks of a semester, because between email and phone calls of parents calling in or people trying to take care of payments, things like that, it's long waits. And when you hear it's going to be 30 minutes, you can press 1 to be called back. And within PBXact, this is all that we include, with the big thing being Zulu, right? So let's say you're in a situation where you're trying to help a customer out, or your organization is looking to implement PBXact right now within a system hosted environment due to what's going on and everybody having to work from home. Zulu, not only is it a built-in soft phone, but it's a complete unified communications client. So from here, I've got it set to use my desk phone, but since people might not want to touch things that have been delivered to them, etc., I can set it to a soft phone, and I can use this to not only see who in my organization is on a phone call, I can see he's available.
Correct. You can manually configure all phones to free PBX and PBXact for that matter.
Yep. And you can do that using Chan or PJSIP. But looks like it. I'll give it another moment here, see if any additional questions are going to come up. But we haven't seen anything here in about 5 minutes. So anything else you want to add to this, Brian, that you think folks should know?
Yeah, no, really, I think it especially highlights how easy it is that and quickly, right? It's where VoIP Supply has really been inundated with phone calls and emails and chat requests for VoIP systems or companies who are looking to switch due to work from home capabilities. So of course we're seeing an uptick in system requests, and it really shows you how fast you can get a company up and running. Especially utilizing SIP stations, SIP trunks. We can really get you moving really seamlessly.
Awesome. I haven't seen anything come in, so I'm going to
There is
stop
one
sharing
more,
my.
Todd.
Oh.
It says if I have a user connected to PBXact in a main office and another is connected to a PBXact in a branch, can they send messages through Zulu? I'm wondering if
Answer that is
they're.
no.
Mm-hmm. You
You can do EX trunking between the two so that folks can call each other with extension to extension dialing. But if it is two unique systems, there is not messaging available between the two. And this is, that's a great example as to why you would want to look at putting something like this hosted by system, because then all of your users can be on the same system and they can get that messaging functionality.
So here's mine and Todd's contact information. Please get in touch with myself or Todd. We'd love to have a one-on-one with you and really open up the conversation and see how system and PBXact can work for you. And in closing too, I'll be sending everybody who attended today an email and be giving you a quick buzz as well so we can schedule up a one-on-one together and discuss your individual needs. So be on the lookout for that. Mike, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day, and Todd, you as well. Thank you so much for partnering with VoIP Supply, and everybody, thank you for attending. So long, everyone.